Louie Felix with Elite Personal Search, the matchmaking experts. Today I want to talk about first dates. I get a lot of emails from people asking me questions about what they should or shouldn't do on a first date. So I thought I'd talk about it on this video blog. And maybe this will help you a little bit. I think there's some general answers to that question as far as, what you should or shouldn't do on a first date. And I think it's all good advice. You want to dress to impress. You want to make sure that you're presentable. Women, you don't want to be too provocative. You don't want to send the wrong message. Unless you want to send that message, then of course dress provocatively. You want to have, gentlemen, you want to be respectful of the woman that you're with. You want to open her car door. Flowers are always nice. I know that's a big topic of discussion. Should you or shouldn't you give flowers? I think if you feel like giving flowers, you should give her flowers. You want to maintain eye contact. You want to have a good conversation. You want to be a good listener. You want to not discuss past relationships. That's usually the kiss of death, especially on a first date. Gentlemen, we fall into that trap more often than women do, because women tend to probe more about past relationships to figure out kind of where you've been, where you currently are, and where you see yourself in the next 12 months. So be careful with that. But for the most part, you want to have fun. You want to just make sure that you're comfortable. And, it's not a job interview, so don't interrogate the other person. Something that I want to bring up or discuss with you is something that I think not a lot of people are aware of. And that is the fact that sometimes we allow that chemistry that we have with somebody to be the driving force behind why we pursue a relationship with them. Okay? So what tends to happen is if you're on the internet and you scroll through, typically what happens is people scroll through photo after photo after photo until they find somebody they're attracted to, and then that becomes the driving force behind who they want to meet. It's almost as if the profile, the actual profile of who that person actually is, becomes secondary to the photo of the person. And again, it's that chemistry that we have that's driving us to want to meet that person. The same thing can happen actually at a restaurant or at a bar. You can be out with your friends having a nice evening, and you might have that same animal chemistry with somebody that comes up and talks to you. So you want to be very careful not to allow that chemistry to be the driving force behind who you meet or who you don't meet, okay? And the reason for that is what tends to happen is people conform to who they think the person wants them to be. And that's a very dangerous thing to do, because typically what happens is you pursue a relationship with somebody because you think you have this great chemistry with them, but in actuality, 2 to 3 months into a relationship, you kind of become more who you are, they kind of become more who they are, and you realize that you're very, very different people, and you probably shouldn't have been together in the first place. And so most of the time, people will go through a series or a sequence of shorter-term relationship after shorter-term relationship, primarily when chemistry is the driving force behind who you meet. I know I'm getting really, focusing on 2-3 months into a relationship, but it always starts with that first date. Okay, so really try to separate having something in common with somebody and having chemistry with somebody, and make sure that it's just a really good fit. Although I do want to say that sometimes what we tend to do is overanalyze or overprocess what happened on that first date also, which could be a reason why sometimes you never have a second date, or there's very few people that you end up having second dates with. So you don't want to overanalyze or overprocess information. You want to be true to yourself and be true to the other person. If you legitimately didn't have a good experience or really have a good night with them, or you maybe just didn't really click completely, that's fair. You don't have to have a second date with everybody. My rule of thumb is always try to go on 2 or 3 dates with anybody that you go out with. Primarily because if you went on a first date with them, they have to have some sort of quality or physical characteristic or quality about them that attracted you to them, aside from looks. And so typically what I say is have that second or third date and then make your final assessment on whether you want to continue seeing them again or not. Okay? So I look forward to your questions. You can always email your questions to lfelix@elitepersonalsearch.com. That's LFELIX@elitepersonalsearch.com. And I look forward to reading them. You have a fantastic day.